Hello, everyone. And here on this Friday, we come to the end of the series on faith. And I'll probably say this later as well. But there's so much to say about faith. And I've over these months on YouTube, I think I've talked about it a few times, including the topic of refuge. So there's lots to say, but I prefer, and maybe it's the truth, not to know what faith really is. There's something to me quite marvelous about not knowing, but trusting or allowing or feeling something here. And, I think I'm a fairly rational person with reasons and thoughtful, and I also tremendously value the way that in mindfulness we do know. We know we know we know the particulars of this moment. We know our experience as it's unfolding in the moment for itself. And there's a clarity that arises with mindfulness that we really know, and the deeper we go in mindfulness practice, vipassana practice, the greater the knowing quality is. And at the same time, the process, the unfolding, the larger picture of what all this is, this human life of ours, there's so much that I don't know. And mindfulness has placed me in the middle of all of it with a deep trust, a deep confidence, a deep faith that is heartfelt, that has a kind of, close to a kind of love or warmth or a sense of maybe in kind of in a language that's now becoming popular, a sense of this is a belonging here, of being at home here. And one of the definitions of belonging that I'm fond of is the idea that belonging is the capacity to give care and to receive care. The capacity to give and receive care. So rather than belonging being a passive thing, rather than faith, trust, our place here in this world is passive, it does involve the capacity to give and receive care. And so that capacity, what is that? How can we center ourselves in the present moment and expand this capacity? And one way is to expand our capacity to just know this. The more we can know this and trust this, have faith in this, have confidence in our ability to be present for this, the greater becomes our capacity to care. So the simple word I'd like to offer today for this practice is the word this, T-H-I-S. And perhaps that little introduction I just gave can add some greater dimensions to the simple, maybe humble word this. That this is really a doorway to a greater capacity to belong, to be at home in this universe. And but not at home in a way that is passive, but awakens our heart's capacity to care in a deep way, to give and receive care. So that's what I recommend today is, if you'd like, you might try, as you meditate here, to use the word this, and maybe the richness of that word or what it points to can awaken in your heart. So to begin, to belong to the place in which you're sitting. There's a long tradition in Buddhism to take the particular place you happen to be meditating in, the physical location of where that which receives the weight of your body, as being you're the spot of awakening, this spot, this location. And so to feel the weight of your body being held by whatever that supports it, and maybe appreciate the support and that contact. And to relax and soften the gaze of your eyes. So you're not really looking at anything, staring at anything. Letting the eyes relax in the eye sockets. And if it's comfortable for you, you're welcome to close your eyes. And as you exhale, to release the holdings of your body. Perhaps through your relaxing your muscles, releasing your heart, your mind from your concerns. Not to abandon them, but to let them be put aside for these few minutes. It's okay to allow yourself to be here in this experience. Relaxing deeply. And taking a few moments to feel your global body, whatever way is easy for you, to be aware of your body, a particular area of your body or the whole body, whatever comes easy to you. There's a tradition in Buddhism to take your body as the meditation center, the meditation hall. And to breathe within this body. Experiencing how the body knowing how the body experiences breathing. Maybe as broadly as you can become aware of the impact breathing has on the body. As you exhale, relaxing the tensions, contractions, tightness of the mind, the pressure that might be associated with thinking. Perhaps by stepping away from your concerns and instead appreciating the totality of our minds, all that it does for us. Stepping away from our concerns so there can be a greater appreciation of this here. And then settling into your breathing. Maybe using the word this when you breathe in, this in-breath. Gently saying this as you exhale, this exhale. Or if you find yourself thinking, you might say this. This too is included in awareness. This is a marvel, is a wonder, a sound, a body sensation. A this that opens the door to not to a rejection of anything, but this too is where we find belonging, care, the ability to receive and give care. to be in your present moment experience and to recognize it as this which welcomes everything, including yourself, into being, into belonging, here, now. And then as we come to the end of this sitting, to appreciate that we have the capacity to give and to receive care. And then when we meditate, we're doing both. We're giving care to ourselves and we're receiving care from the meditation, from the Dharma. And to feel a degree of gratitude or appreciation for the circle of care that happens in meditation. And then at the end of the meditation, to expand that circle of care out into the world. We receive so much from the world. The air we breathe, the water we drink, the food the farmers provide. So many people in the world are doing services that sustain our life, our lifestyle. And it is a kind of care that we receive. And then we can return that care and live in a circle of giving and receiving care. And this is what it means to belong, one meaning of belonging. And so at the end of the sitting, to consider whatever benefit we receive from this practice, known or unknown, immediate or benefit that comes over time. May that be somehow transformed or inspire us to share those benefits with others, to extend ourselves, to serve and care for the world around us. May we contribute to the welfare and happiness of others. May the benefits of our practice spread from us out into the world and providing peace, and compassion, care, generosity, love, goodwill out into the world, so that all beings may one day experience happiness and peace and freedom and safety. May this practice we do benefit the world. So before I begin this talk, a couple of announcements. At the end of the talk, I'll open a Zoom room and we can have a community meeting and on Zoom. And the Zoom link is right now it's posted at the right near the second to the top chat in the chat here, and I'll post it again at some point at the bottom near the bottom of the chat. And I'll tell you when after the talk. And it's also on the YouTube page. If you look probably underneath below the video picture that's going on, where it says Insight Meditation Center and some details there. It also has the Zoom link there. You might have to copy and paste it. And finally, it's also on the What's New section of IMC's homepage. And the bottom right-hand corner, there's a little section called What's New. And there, one of the top things there is a link to the. You click on the heading, and then it takes you to the link for this our meeting here. And it might be in the calendar. I don't know if it made it there. The IMC calendar. And so hopefully all those areas work. And if you and then the second is that today and then again on Sunday is a day that all the donations which aren't specified clearly for other purposes, all the donations that are coming into IMC, we'll turn around and give them to Partners in Health. It's a wonderful nonprofit that does work in Haiti, and they're kind of on the ground working with some 5,000 or so local healthcare providers, people working in villages, nurses and doctors in the rural countryside all over, and where they're partnering with people there to provide the kind of care that both the Haitian government is not doing, and many people don't have access to help so many people there who are suffering from the earthquake, from poverty, from storms, from now a dysfunctional government. And so to support people there, and I think it's a wonderful thing. And these neighbors of ours, or can we say our fellow citizens on our North American kind of continent here. And so it'd be lovely to see our YouTube community. We've never done this before, kind of come together and as a group kind of care for, to offer, we talk about benefiting the world at the end of our sitting, and here's a chance maybe to do it more as a community. So, so thank you. So for the talk today, Um, the general topic, maybe the title can be service, faith as service. And the idea of service is to offer care. But to offer care when we combine the idea of faith, maybe it's associated a little bit with devotion, a little bit with trust, a little bit with generosity. That faith can also involve not only what we receive, we have what we trust and kind of just allow for. It's also something deeper in that it's also a wellspring of what we offer. That it's an action of expression of our love, an expression of our faith, an expression of where we place our hearts, what inspires us in some deep way. And so faith is not, we're not only recipients in having faith, we're actually givers. And to really have faith, I think it really helps to also if there is a feeling or recognition inside that there's a desire for action to do something. And many times it's desire to serve um, uh, whatever the source is for the faith, uh, to support it, to help it out, to benefit it. But it could be faith can this kind of the service aspect of faith doesn't have to be to some particular the source of the faith, your religion, for example, or your community, religious community, or practice community. But it could be faith can elicit this desire to, out of love, out of care, compassion, out of a fullness of heart, to serve people anywhere in the world, maybe Haiti, maybe other places, maybe your neighbors, maybe more fully in your own family. And this idea of service, to serve, is a beautiful thing of the heart. It's kind of a wonderful, rich, multifaceted quality of generosity, of love, of care. And there's something about caring that's really part of freedom, non-clinging, which I talked about yesterday. As we don't cling to anything, there's much more room in the heart and the mind to be responsive to the world around us, responsive to the suffering and the joys of the world, and to respond in a way that feels like we're expanding um, the faith, or expanding our freedom, expanding our love out into the world in some wonderful way. And so to serve out of faith is not to want anything in return, but rather it's just a clear, clean expression of generosity, of serving something that's valuable to serve. And this language that I use in the meditation, that the circles of giving and receiving, and to have those circles be to flow and move and turn freely, not to be clogged up or stopped or not have the brakes on, or if a wheel, if you take the half of the wheel away, it's not a wheel anymore. It won't roll. You need the whole wheel to roll. And so the wheel of giving and receiving, that arises not out of a should, not out of obligation, but from being settled in some deep way in our hearts, in a way that something here we trust, here we have a devotion to, here we have confidence in. Yesterday I talked about the confidence in non-clinging, that to rest in that confidence is not a passive thing, but it's kind of like the soil, the nutriments for then responding to the world. A response which, again, I want to emphasize is not an obligation, but it feels like the most natural thing in the world. It's just what flows out of it. The liberated heart, the heart that's filled with this kind of Dharma faith, the heart that goes for refuge, is not a passive heart. It's one that has an orientation and a motivation and an inspiration to act in a new way, to live a new way. And one of the ways of understanding this is to live with care, to offer care, to care for, in some ways it's natural to care for, um, I think I say it a little differently. One of the wonderful things to do is to care for the place in which you practice in. It's part of the practice is to care for the place you practice. Part of the practice is to care for the world in which you practice. And that world spreads out beyond any walls, beyond any boundaries, and open-ended. And so to do that with as a sense of um, the kind of service that is almost like a devotional service or an expression of love or goodwill. So I've talked about all these different qualities, characteristics of faith this week, and there's many more. Faith is a rich, rich thing. And as I said in meditation, I think that um, I actually prefer not to believe that I know exactly what faith is. I can talk about different aspects of it, but it feels much more in harmony with faith, with this deep trust, not to know fully what it is, and in not knowing, uh, to open myself to like trust it or appreciate something larger and bigger than anything I could know, anything that I could um, um, have control over or possess or and so there's a kind of a wonderful feeling of this willingness to be open that doesn't have to know, but is ready to serve, ready to care, ready to participate in this world as if I belong here, we belong here. Where belonging is this wonderful circle of giving and receiving care. And maybe in the end, um, this practice that we do is a practice that transforms us into free beings that are deeply connected to our communities and our world in this mutuality of giving and receiving care. So service as an element of faith. So thank you.